You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Chiro Thin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Zingit Solutions, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Everest Coaching Systems, True Chiro, the Social Health Experts Summit, Chiropractic Jobs Online, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, and Chiro Moguls. Let's hustle. Hey guys, Jim Chester here. I have Joel Kaplan over there. Today's episode is an afternoon edition, and this is brought to us by True Chiro. And if you guys go to truechiro.org, I'm going to flash their web address on the bottom of the screen right now so you guys know where to go. It's also in the description up top. Click through. It says click here. True Chiro. What they do is they teach you how to increase your PVA for 100 to everyone in your patients. So everybody that's coming into your office, if you want to increase your PVA, go to True Chiro, talk to Tina and Clint Steele, and they'll be sure to help you out. But before we get going into today's episode of the Chiro Hustle live stream afternoon edition, I have Joel Kaplan with me here today, and I'm repping his company today.
Jim, I got to say, you look beautiful. You look beautiful, my friend.
Atlas Digital. And our topic that we're going to take a deep dive on today is the 7 reasons why your marketing agency is failing you. And we're going to talk through these 7 things, and maybe some triggers will get pulled. Maybe we'll come across some things that you guys didn't know you should be paying attention to. But this is one of the things I'm most excited at talking about. Go ahead.
Reason number 1, your marketing agency doesn't send you a T-shirt. You know, they're already failing you from the get-go, you know? Where's the T-shirt?
Yeah, it's all about branding, man. And 2 things I'm really excited about. You know, I'm repping Hustle. I'm repping True Chiro. I got your logo on my shirt. I think that the most important thing is just to have good referable resources for people and to have people that are willing to share information, because there's like this huge veil of like confusion for people that they honestly don't know what to do for their business or their services. They don't know where to go or who to trust. They get taken by some, I know back in the day that the chiropractic community is calling these guys carpetbaggers. But let's start talking about these 7 things that we can make improvements on.
For sure. So I think the reason number 1 why your marketing agency is failing you, before I actually give a reason, I wanted to start off with some red flags.
Sure.
So if you're a chiropractor, you have a practice, and you're trying to get new patients, and you're maybe interviewing different marketing agencies or thinking about partnering with a marketing agency, here's some red flags right off the bat. And I'm going to be looking down just because I don't have them memorized in here. I got them on my
okay.
So hopefully that's cool with you guys. But
the value's there, brother. The value's there.
Awesome. So first red flag. If someone comes to you and says, "Hey, let me do this for you for free. Let me run ads for you for free." What this tends to be, you know, and I come from a marketing background. I've been doing marketing for over 7 years. This is someone that's just starting out. It's someone that is just getting their feet wet. And even though it's so tempting, and you're like, man, it's free. Like, how am I going to say no? It's a big red flag because they don't have the experience. They don't have the years, the hustle that needed to be put into actually learning this craft in order to get you the results that you're after. So go for it. Did you have
I think a lot of times people come into the space and they want to get clients just like I do. They have to bootstrap from somewhere. So to disqualify them from the jump is something that I think that we just have to build awareness into, like you're doing. You're like saying, hey, we all start somewhere. But if you want to work with a pro, then settle in with us. If you want to try that and go by the fly-by-night type of situation, because that's what it may turn into, then, hey, we want to build awareness for you.
Yeah. And you know what? For someone starting out, if that's what you want to do, I fully respect that, but you just have to be aware of what you're signing up for and the kind of results that you can expect from it. So that was kind of a red flag number 1. Red flag number 2 is not having a team. I think when it comes to marketing agencies, we have to be much more than just providing you potential new patients. We have to be such a resource to you guys. And without a team in place, it could be really hard. So if you're just working with a freelancer, again, there's nothing wrong with that, at the core, but you have to keep in mind that when things go wrong, or if you need some extra support or help here, you might just not be able to get that. And then the final red flag was no success stories. So if I was speaking with a chiropractor and they were looking at different marketing agencies, what I would recommend to them is say, hey, maybe you've been burned in the past. Maybe you've had bad experiences. Maybe you've gotten really bad results from other marketing agencies. So what I would recommend you to do is actually validate and double check and triple check that the one you are going to work with has the results to back it up. Because at the end of the day, this is about results. And if we can get you results, then you can serve more people, you can change more lives, and we can change the world. So if the marketing agency you're interviewing can't back it up with any results, for me, that's a red flag as well. What do you think, Tim?
Well, I just love the fact that you're willing to tell people what to look for in order to make good decisions. And I think that that's a huge confusion point in the chiropractic marketing space, is most people don't know really what, if they did choose, they don't want to tell themselves that they picked poorly. And if they did pick poorly, they kind of have a mistrust issue now. So we need to teach people how to pivot and how to make better decisions for themselves. So I say thank you for sharing that and telling people what to look for not to go forward with if that's a concern to them. But I just want to take a quick pattern interrupt here and thank Barb Eaton for being on, coming in from Atlanta. Tim McFadden says, what's up, Hustle? He's coming in from the Pacific Northwest. He says it's cold and snowy. And then on the other end of the spectrum, Jason Strohide, who sponsors us with Chiro Thin Nutraceuticals, is down there in Clearwater Beach, and I'm sure it's nice and sunny down there. Probably a little rain around noon.
Yep. Yeah, I'm jealous. We just had, Jim, you're in Colorado too. There's huge snowstorm this weekend. The I-70 just got shut down. There was an avalanche. So crazy stuff.
Yeah, actually, I was due to drive back to the Grand Junction area from the Front Range this past weekend, and as I was coming back, I got shut down. So I missed my inner circle call on Monday. I missed my coaching call on Monday. Like, I had to drive back on a day that I didn't expect to from the Front Range. So yeah, man, anytime that there's I-70 gets shut down, that's a big deal.
I don't know if we have time for a pivot here, but I have a crazy story for you if you want to hear it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so my brothers come out over the weekend, and we're all going to go snowboarding. And we go to Keystone. Everything's great. But then around Sunday night, we realize that the highway is not going to be drivable, right? So I go to AutoZone at like 8 p.m. with my Jeep. Right. So I go with my Jeep. I go buy some chains for my wife's Mazda because she drove up in the Mazda. We stay an extra night. The next morning I wake up at like 6:30, and it takes us about an hour to put on the chains, the snow chains for the tires on my wife's Mazda. And we put them on. We're ready to go. I feel great. I'm like, man, I actually did this. I was able to actually lay out the chains, wrap them up around the wheel. I'm feeling safe. I start driving the Mazda back from Keystone to Boulder. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. These chains are like turning the Mazda into a Jeep. And everything is going perfectly according to plan. Now I get to the highway on I-70, and I'm driving with the Mazda, and I have the chains on, and all of a sudden I hear a bah, just like a crazy pop. And then I start hearing these crazy noises in the car, like da-dun, 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 really intense and overwhelming. So I'm like, man, I don't know what to do here. I'm on the highway. The car's making some crazy noises. So I end up pulling over to the side of I-70. And I-70 is pretty intense. So there's a lot of cars passing by. There's a lot of noise. It's just kind of overwhelming. And I end up getting, long story short, I end up getting stuck for like 3 hours waiting for the police to come. And we had to block off like an entire section of the highway in order to get this chain off because it got stuck in the back of the rim. So that's my crazy story this past weekend. And I know some guy said he was in Clearwater Beach. That sounds a heck of a lot nicer right about now.
Yeah, and most people don't know that like the snowiest season out here in the mountains is March. And that's when Colorado gets most of its snow, and especially in the mountains, and it can be pretty treacherous. And I make that trip at least once a month between Denver and Grand Junction now. So, yeah, it's definitely busy out here. But let's dive back into
Yeah,
this marketing idea, and let's reel it back in for the people to get them some real value takeaways. And let's talk about these 7 reasons for marketers and what people can like really look forward to if they decide to work with someone like yourself.
for sure. So reason number one why your marketing agency is failing you is if
Hmm.
they're just sending you new patient leads. If all you're getting from your marketing agency are names, emails, and phone numbers of potential patients that are interested in your service, but you're not getting coaching, you're not getting support, you're not getting sales training, you're not getting scripts, you're not getting all the resources you need to actually turn those new patient leads into long-term care patients that not only come in for pain, but also stick around for lifetime wellness. If your marketing agency is not, again, giving you everything you need to make that transformation happen from a lead all the way into a lifetime wellness patient, they are failing you. So if
And and that's the middle ground. That's the part where most people don't really focus the attention on, and that's one of the ties that binds this whole thing to work better. It's the part that really ties it together. Is you have to have the lead magnet, which is the good ad work, but you also have the great follow-up sequence, and that's the middle ground you're talking about now. And there has to be a great back end, which is the conversions and the retention and the referrals. So let's talk about that middle ground just a little bit more.
Yeah. So, for example, at Atlas Digital, we have our highest performing chiropractor partner who was a client with us for over a year. Eventually, we approached them. Their names are Dr. Jen and Dr. Brian Rorick, who practice out of Fort Collins. And they had such an incredible transformation with our marketing system. So we actually asked them to come on board as the official Atlas Digital coaches to all of our other chiropractor clients that are using our marketing system. So now, on top of just getting leads, you also get access to 2 incredible chiropractors who've been able to really transform their practice. They hired an associate doc, they hired another CA. Dr. Jen now is able to spend much more time at home with her family and only comes to adjust on Fridays. So they really had an incredible transformation story, and now they coach everyone else on that middle ground. How do you actually get a lead and actually turn it into not only an ROI, but into an amazing success story of having a new patient come in the door and stick around for lifetime wellness?
That's great. I think understanding that middle ground between the capture and then the conversion is huge, and how to get people to actually show up and be able to make those hard-earned dollars that you spend for the ads to actually return the investment on people showing up that you can actually help.
Yeah, like if your marketing agency is just giving you the lead and then leaving you out, in the middle of nowhere to try to figure it out on your own on, hey, what do I actually do with this person to get them to come in, actually show up for their appointment, come back for their day 2, and then actually commit to a care plan. If they're not giving you those resources, I truly believe that they're failing you. And I think, sorry, go
No,
ahead.
no, I just think that it's really cool that we're talking about a couple of my favorite things, marketing and chiropractic, and we're actually explaining to people things that they need to be aware of if they're moving forward with this type of process. And I think that a lot of times people don't know what will fail them. So it's cool that you're giving people the red flags, and now it's cool that you're telling people these 7 strategies that they should be following and being aware of.
Yeah, and I think it's part of like an issue in my industry, in the marketing industry. A lot of agencies believe, oh, I just need to send the leads and my job is over. And I truly believe from the bottom of my heart that the marketing agencies that make it their core responsibility for their clients to succeed and go beyond just sending the lead are the ones that are going to actually get you the results that you're after, and build a really incredible and mutually profitable long-term partnership. So, for example, if your marketing agency is not giving you video training, scripts, coaching, consistent support, consistent check-in calls, all that good stuff to make sure you're actually getting an ROI, I think that, to me, that means that they're failing you. at least from my perspective.
And yeah, having support and having a person that's going to treat it as an actual high-powered position instead of kind of, I can try to figure this out for you and I'm going to use your money to try to figure this out so where I can help more clients now. I think that having a system that does teach the middle ground approach and follows up with people and teaches people how to convert is definitely a huge thing. And having people that are now resources, like you said, for teaching people how to do this stuff it's a huge win for not only the client but the integrity of the profession.
100%. And let's say you're a practice that's been mainly referral based. If I send you someone that is interested in chiropractic that came from Facebook, it's going to be a totally different experience meeting that patient where they're at compared to a referral that has spoken to your previous clients, is already completely bought in that you can help them accomplish their health goals, and has already heard amazing things about you from people that they trust. So being able to give you the resources to create a similar experience to a patient that came from a referral is very important for the marketing agency. So
let's keep on spitballing this. Let's
Yep.
Let's go to the next topic and start peeling back the layers of the onion for people.
Sweet. All right. Reason number, and if I ever go too deep, Jim, just keep cutting me off, and I'll keep it going, just because I can start ranting and all that good stuff. Okay, number 2 is no peer-to-peer coaching. So if your marketing agency is teaching you how to convert these leads, how to actually get them to show up, but they're not a chiropractor, there's something a little off, right? Because, for example, I'm a born-bred marketer. I've been marketing for over 7 years now, but I've never actually ran a chiropractic office. I haven't picked up the phone and actually scheduled a new patient. I haven't welcomed the new patient when they walk into the doors for the very first time. And that's okay. But what I can do is connect you with the coaches that have done that and can successfully pass along that information. So a red flag for the marketing agency is if they don't have a peer-to-peer coach or someone that can actually help you that's on your level and experiences the same things you're experiencing on a daily basis, to me, that's a red flag. So there's number 2.
Yeah. And for me, when a lot of people might not know this, and some probably do, that I worked in an office for 5.5 years. So I worked inside of the clinic. I didn't manage the phones as much as the front desk gal, but I definitely worked in the office and I would manage phone calls. And there is a certain art to taking a phone call and doing it the right way and getting people to say yes and getting people to schedule an appointment. So I think that that's a huge component to helping people understand chiropractic marketing, because when I go out there and schedule in people, I need to make sure that the person that's handling the leads I send them is actually converting them into showing up and managing that the right way, and not being at this, oh, I'm already busy, I already have overwhelm. And one of the things I'll tell people to do is I've heard this from other coaches out there, but don't let your front desk position hold your success hostage. Don't let the problems that somebody else brings into your office control the growth of your potential at your office too. So make sure that these things we're talking about, these margin things, these middle ground conversations are definitely paid attention to, because they can actually turn the governor off and you can fly at as fast a speed that you can, but you have to follow these simple strategies.
I love it, man. You're I feel like you're preaching to the choir, but I guess we all are. That's the point.
But a lot of people, they think that maybe all I've ever done is talk to people about chiropractic. They think that maybe all I do is run digital ads. They think that maybe all I do is this. So bringing it full circle for people to know that the person that has the megaphone here that keeps the truth going with True Chiropractic, they're our sponsor today. Go to truechiro.org. But in order to keep that truth alive, we have to continuously bring people back to the origin story. And how do I have validation to hold this space? Who is this person that, they may have heard about me, but they don't know exactly who I am. So yeah, man, I worked in the office for 5.5 years. And I think that that's a huge validation point there for people to know that the person that's having these cultural conversations understands it from a patient's perspective, understands it from an office worker's perspective, a guy that made a film, but the real story of the matter is we have to find the resources for marketing to help grow the profession the right way. And now we all have to rise with each other and offer the highest level of value. And I think that that's where we're at right now in this game. It's still early on in the marketing game for chiropractic, but we can still make a better machine moving forward.
100%. And if you can partner with marketers that also have that experience, that in your shoes experience, where maybe they bring on a coach that has that is a chiropractor and runs a practice, and they can speak from personal experience, I think that's the ultimate balance. And that's a huge part of the keys to making marketing work.
So let's talk about number 3.
Awesome. So the third reason why your marketing agency is failing you is if they're not providing training for your team and your CAs. If they're just leaving your CAs hanging, it's really, really hard to build a marketing machine that actually converts. And why? Because the CAs and your team are a huge, huge part of making this work. You can be an amazing doctor and you can have a beautiful practice, but without the right team, it could be so hard. So if your marketing agency is also not working with a CA and with your team, then for me, that's a huge red flag, and I believe they're failing you.
So let me jump in. Don't let your marketing agency hold your success hostage.
Yeah. Oh we
So we're on the 4th topic now, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we got to make sure that the training's right between the CA and the marketing agency, but we also have to make sure that the follow-ups are being done the right way. We have to make sure that there's social credibility in the marketplace for what you're doing. So so number 4, let's keep on firing away and getting people more value.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Chiro Thin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Zingit Solutions, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Everest Coaching Systems, True Chiro, the Social Health Experts Summit, Chiropractic Jobs Online, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, and Chiro Moguls. Let's hustle.
Awesome. So reason number 4 why your marketing agency is failing you is if they're not giving you a community to be a part of. So
okay.
I personally believe that if you're around other people experiencing the same marketing machine that this agency has created for you, and you can be in a network with other practices that are maybe struggling, or maybe they're having incredible success, whatever case it may be, being around people that are having a very similar experience to you is going to set you up for so much more success. Why? Because if you're having issues, you can turn to the community. If you have a question that's in the back of your mind and you're not really sure how to go about it, you can go to the community. If there's a golden nugget you just picked up and you think everyone could benefit from it, you could share it in the community. So I truly believe that there's a compound effect that happens when we're all masterminding with each other, when we're all sharing best practices, when we're all sharing golden nuggets. And if your marketing agency is not giving you the opportunity to have that sort of mastermind, I believe they're failing you.
So let me go on a riff quick. It's basically saying Facebook is here. You have to distill your tribe down, and then you have to get granular with your tribe, and you have to build that community around your messaging. And you have to share best practice methods, and you have to get into a mastermind group where people can actually learn from each other and have actionable resources that they can actually start leveraging their success in. And one of the things I always tell people, Joel, is look in the obvious places. And I really believe that a lot of the times people don't know where to look. So having this mastermind that takes this big group of people and builds a community and distills it down and gets granular with resource management and the tools. Steve Jobs said the one with the most tools, the best tools, basically wins. So we have to take the tools that are available and learn how to implement them and learn how to make the resource actually actionable for us. So great tip, man.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like, for example, with with Atlas Digital, we have a private Facebook group where all of our chiropractor partners interact. If they're having any issues, they can ask for questions, and now they're helping each other. And that is so much more powerful because, again, I have never experienced some of the issues they're having firsthand, but I know someone else in that Facebook group has, and they can help each other out. And you're essentially giving people the opportunity to not only be around other people that are building their practice through the same marketing machine, but you're also setting people up for greater success long term.
And for me, marketing is kind of like having a good coach. And a lot of the things that you're saying, it's not only run the campaigns effectively, but it's also understanding that there's a lot of coaching involved, and a lot of that's peer to peer, but a lot of that coaching is community based as well.
It's, what's crazy is I actually believe the ads and all that stuff is like 10% or maybe 20%. I think, what we have so much data at this point to be able to see why a practice succeeds with our marketing versus why they don't. And time and time again, it all came down to mindset, community, support, coaching, not the actual number of leads we were sending them, not the specific type of marketing that we created. The real big impact came from that other 80%, which I think is
the home run is in the follow-up and in the systems. And I think that's where the real that separates the winners from the pretenders. And I think that a lot of pretenders can drive in a lot of traffic doing simple strategies, but actually creating a machine that gets people to have a system and develop the hot, warm, and cold traffic and turn those people into different levels of exposure to the campaign, indoctrinate people into the messaging, get people to start opting into something free, getting people to walk up the value ladder to actually saying, I've seen you in my newsfeed for the past 6 months, bro. I'm going to probably schedule an appointment with you because whatever you're doing is approaching people in a place that they're looking for what your information and your messaging is. So I think when people understand it from that perspective also, it's really clear to people that there has to be a certain strategy in the margin again, and in that middle ground, that they have to start realizing that that's where the marketing wins. And that's where games are won.
100%. I tell everyone, a lot of marketing agencies can send you leads, but the ones that can actually help you convert those leads into long-term care patients that stick around for lifetime wellness, that's where the magic lies.
And that's what our sponsor today with True Chiro does, is they teach people how to get over 100 PVA for lifetime of a patient. And if those things are interesting to you, growing chiropractic offices, running proper media campaigns, having the charismatic leader, but also having the community of, fellow like-minded people on a similar journey as you. And I think that that's really the leverage point that you're talking about, is building that community, build it granular enough to where we're actually sharing the tools with each other, to where the middle ground is getting won by all of us. And that's a huge stage for chiropractic growth, period. So getting people indoctrinated to come in for 100 visits over the lifetime of their care is massive. So getting people to understand that the front end is that important to get that type of referral and retention system going on the back end is something that a lot of people are probably need to pay more attention to if they're not.
100%. Jim, you ready for number 5, I think?
I think we're on 5, man.
Let's go. All right. The 5th reason your marketing agency is failing you is if they're only playing the short-term game. So I'm okay with playing the short-term game and getting quick wins and really helping practices get that initial momentum. But you also have to look at the big picture play here and build campaigns that will set you up for long-term success and position you as the authority in your local market, as the go-to chiropractor. If you're trying to go in to fix a pain, or if you're trying to just go in for lifetime wellness, you are the person that people turn to. So I believe deep down that marketing agencies need to be creating both short-term strategies for you to actually get your return on your investment, because that's important, and get you actual results. And then also the long-term game, where maybe the ROI is not as clear, but it's setting you up for being able to play at a bigger level, maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years from now. So that's fifth reason.
Yeah, and I think that long-term commitment to things really matter. I know that in the marketing arena, people are always looking for like, what's the quick fix? What's the fast win? And I know when Facebook ads came to be in vogue and people started to do them, it was a quick win and it was a quick fix and it was driving people in. But then the people got to that confusion point of like, hey, I'm getting hit up 5 times a week by different people that are offering me these services. Who do I trust? And how do I clear through the static and noise and make good decisions with this strategy? Because I hear it's the thing to do. Now, what the heck do I do and how can I convert it? And over time, just for everybody out there watching, it hasn't gotten any easier getting these conversions and getting these opt-ins and getting these campaigns rolling. That's why people had to become specialists at it. That's why people had to get granular with it and figure out where the pain points were. The chiropractic marketing agencies figured out the pain points for the chiropractors, and now we're giving solutions to growth. And I think that that's one of the really cool things about when we do set up a proper campaign and we look at it long term. That's commitment from us, but that's also commitment to you, and that's commitment to your voice in your community. And I think that if people realize that this little thing in front of me is my media agency, and the more content that I create, this little thing here becomes your ATM. And that concept there, that this is your media company on your phone, but you also have to run traffic the right way. And if you want to have Facebook ads be that thing that still works for you time after time, then you have to trust somebody that makes this their tools, and trust them to do it for you.
You guys don't want to know how many hours I've spent on the Facebook ads manager. I think it would scare most of you. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, lots of hours.
But that's just it. Is that's the reason I'm bringing you on to the Chiro Hustle show, is to show to people what the level of commitment that it takes to become an expert. And to say that this is probably really confusing to you, man. If you just want me to help you out and get you into the driver's seat, I'm going to teach you how to do all this and work with you and give you that hand to hold throughout this whole process. And yeah, it's going to cost you some dough, but the ROI that you get from putting your chips into the middle, it's not such a gamble when we have a system and we have resources for you to grow your business with. And the big thing I tell everybody, Joel, is please let us earn your business. If you let us earn your business, then we're going to show you on the back end what's possible.
I love that. I freaking love that. Jim, should I jump into number 6, my friend?
Let's do it. Let's take the plunge. Number 6. We got 2 more left, guys.
All right. 6th reason why your marketing agency is failing you is that they are not innovating. If they're doing the same things they did a year ago, they haven't tried any new things, then they're not improving their game. That is a huge sign that, hey, whatever, this is for them just a little side gig. It's not their life's commitment. They're not thinking outside the box. They're not thinking long term. So I'm always testing new campaigns. Now, I don't launch them out to the same time to every client. If a campaign for a client has been working for a long time, I'm of the philosophy that if it ain't broke, don't fix it, especially in advertising. And that goes back to David Ogilvy. I don't know how much you've read on Ogilvy, but he's one of the godfathers of advertising. And his whole philosophy is we're going to run a campaign for as long as humanly possible if it continues to provide ROI. That being said, we're always still innovating. We're always trying new offers. We're always trying new angles. We're always trying new things. We're always improving different parts of our services. So if your marketing agency is stuck on the same way of doing things as they were a year ago, man, that would scare me a little bit.
Well, here's the thing about that too, is innovation comes with experience. And here's one of the things that I think that we should talk about that would probably get a lot of ears to perk up is the concept of ad fatigue. Let's discuss ad fatigue and why it's important to keep testing the market.
100%. So when you run the same ad in a certain area, if for anyone who's ran ads or had an agency run ads, it will naturally start to die off. It happens every single time. And the reason why you should partner with the right agency is because they will know how to keep the ad going for as long as humanly possible. For example, I tell all of my clients, you're hiring me to make sure that you get leads forever. And if I'm not, you should fire me immediately, because that's essentially my job. And it's important to understand what changes need to be made to the ad in order to keep it going. So I'll give you guys a few examples. One thing you could do is increase the radius. That'll just open up the audience so you can target more people. And by increasing it and actually starting to put the ad in front of other people, you're going to be able to essentially capture some new faces that you wouldn't have been able to capture. Now, you can't do that forever because you're not going to go to like 100 miles. That's ridiculous. But you can do that at the beginning. Another thing you could do is you can change the gender of who you're targeting. So let's say you were targeting males for a little while. You can then switch it to females and give males a break. So when you turn the male campaigns back on, it's fresh again. It's no longer saturated. And I don't know if I'm going into too much detail, Jim. But
I think it's really cool that you're getting granular for people, because people they think that they can wave a magic wand and they can have results and they can just throw money at stuff. I think that it's really cool that you're giving people actionable advice, and it keeps the audience fresh that are watching right now. And before we go on to the next part of this, I want to just ask everybody out there that's watching this, #value in the comments there if you're finding value from this. If you're watching this on replay, #replay in there so we know that you watch this up to this juncture in this Facebook Live. And if you do us one favor, just hit that share button. I know it's probably really hot right now. Just push the share button and give this live to other people, because really when you comment on these things, it helps us with the algorithm. When you share these things, it even boosts it higher into the algorithm. So give us some hearts, give us some thumbs up, and please participate with us. And one of the things I always ask our audience to do is be social on social. So if you like the things that we're doing, I won't bring on bad messages for you. I only want to bring on high level value for my audience. So if you do find value in this, please #value. And if you're watching this on replay, #replay. But please hit that share button right now so people can see the message that we have cultivated together. And we're going to finish up tip number 6 for Joel's list of 7 now. So let's finish up that number 6 there. Thanks for letting me segue into communicating with our audience.
Yeah, I love that. I have a great friend, Nick, who loves to say, you got to jam that hard button. Jam it until Mark Zuckerberg calls Jim up and says, hey, Jim, we're getting too many likes on that video you posted. So where was I? So a few other things.
You're getting granular with people on if something has a fatigue status or something, and why you have to keep on managing it to make it long-term healthy ad.
You need to have some strategies in the back of your pocket, and you need to know what to do when the campaign dries up in order to essentially keep it going forever. So like I said, opening the radius, which just allows you to target more people, that's an easy change. Changing up the actual genders and actually giving the other gender a break back and forth, that allows you to keep going for a few more weeks, maybe even a few more months. Another thing that you can do, which is very, very, very impactful, is to change the creative. So before I even touch the text or the headline, the first thing I actually do to test out a new ad is to change either the picture or the video that goes along with the text and the headline that I know is proven to work. So that's my third change. And that gives me a lot more time, because then with a new ad that I can test out, if it works, I can go back to square one, change the radius, then change the gender, and then change up the creative again. So I don't know if I'm getting too granular, but these are some of the things that I think about when a campaign dries up. Once it stops working for good, then you actually come up with a brand new campaign, like something totally unrelated to what we had been doing before. So that's
I think campaigns are like different weapons in the arsenal. And I think that people kind of don't understand that there has to be a different level of campaign to drive in a different level of traffic. And I think that that's something that it's really cool to like let our audience know that, hey, if you figure this out, don't call us. But if you don't have this figured out, you might want to get on and send us a direct message and say, hey, I want your help. because you sound like you know what you're doing and you're committed to the growth of chiropractic. So if you guys are out there and you do have needs and wants, and if you effectively need somebody to take on what we are talking about, then reach out to us and let us be your trusted resource, to where you don't, crash and burn with the wrong campaigns, and you don't know how to do the follow-ups. You don't know how to build the community. So a lot of these things are like kind of easy for us to understand because we're in this matrix, but so many people out there that are like, satelliting the chiropractic world, they really don't have the eyes, the ears, and the hearts. So if you guys are on with us and you guys are captivated by what we're saying, you want help, use us as your trusted resources, because we're here for you. We want you to win. That's the reason why we put our time and effort in becoming the megaphone and the behind the scenes guy that are doing things to help grow the beautiful profession of chiropractic. So with that being said, let's jump into number 7.
All right, here we go. We're wrapping it up. Reason number 7 why your marketing agency is failing you. This is going to sound too simple and maybe too good to be true, but they're not getting you results. If your marketing agency at the end of the day is not getting you results, please go find someone else that can help you. I tell all of my clients, if I'm not getting you the results that you're after, you have no reason to continue working with me. It's my moral duty. It's my moral responsibility to do everything I humanly can to help you grow your practice so that you can help more people, change more lives, and ultimately change the world. But if I'm not able to do that, then maybe it's me, maybe it's the campaigns, maybe it could be a million different reasons, but then go find someone else that can. So the final reason, and I know it's very high level, that your marketing agency is failing you is that they're not getting you results that you're after.
Yeah, and I think it's like the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is people say that they can do stuff and that they have the conversations with me 6 months later and say, yeah, I worked with XYZ. That worked great for the first 3 months. After that, things fell off and I wasn't getting results anymore. So I want to talk to you. So if anybody's walking around all beat up and battered with that type of conversation that they want to have with me, reach out to me to where we can put you into protective systems.
Yeah.
And we can save you from being beat up and battered in the chiropractic marketing arena. And I think that's a lot of times everybody wants to trust the guy that they're connected to or that reached out to them and they tried with. And everybody wants to see the underdog win. But I also think that we have to give people great strategic partners out there that can give them the answers that they need. And I don't want to see people's campaigns going to Facebook and not getting them money back. And that's the worst type of campaign out there, is the one that you put $3,000 to $10,000 into and you don't get anything out of it. And those are the people that call me up 6 months down the line and say, you know what? I don't trust these chiropractic marketer dudes. I don't trust the digital ad agencies. And I'm like, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, and it kind of sucks, to be honest with you, because it kind of looks bad on our industry, but that's why we need leaders to step up and create a new path and create a new vision for what marketers can actually do for chiropractic and how they can help spread the word.
Well, what I think has happened is we're watching the dust settle, and we're going to see the ones that are valued and the add value that will succeed within this group of marketers. And I do value what you had to share with our audience today. I think that everybody that watched this, they're going to get some type of a takeaway to know whether if they're making good decisions or poor decisions. And if they need help making better decisions, they can reach out to either one of us. I just want to say thank you, Joel, for spending some time with me today.
Of course, man. I'm just happy you wore the T-shirt that I sent you. You know, that made my day.
So, and anything that we have along this communication paradigm that I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our audience today?
Man, I truly believe that if you find the right strategic partner to help you take your practice to the next level, it is possible. And it hurts me that a ton of people in my industry have created such a bad image for us and have created this belief that it's not even possible. And it sucks. It really, really hurts if you've been burned in the past. It really, really hurts if you haven't gotten the results that you're after. But I do know that if you can commit to the process and find the right partners and make it work, it could really revolutionize not only your community, but it can also change the world. So.
Yeah, and I love the passion and the honesty that you have within this arena, because I do think that there needs to be the winners should win more, and if we can continuously do that, then we have a better brand. And I know that there's going to be millions of dollars that get pushed into ad spend. We just want to making sure that people are actually benefiting from that.
100%, 100%. And I guess my big message there is, if you have had a bad experience in the past, I do want you to stay hopeful that there is a possibility for it to actually work, and for marketing to not only transform your practice, but also to transform your community. So.
Well, I'm going to close out by saying thank you to Clint and Tina Steele with True Chiropractic. If you guys wanted to jump on board and get your PVA over 100, go to truechiro.org. It's in the description up top. It's here floating above the screen here. We just want to say love and appreciate you guys for being with us today. And you guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. If you do need help with digital ad agency work, reach out to Joel or myself. We'll catch you on the next one. Have a good day.
Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.